Man, I don't have a lot to say about The Little Mermaid. And this is the live action version, by the way, that I'm talking about here. Um, and I will say this movie was certainly not for me. And but I will say it's possible to separate the fact that it did race swapping with the actual quality of the movie, because the movie itself was actually good, even though it wasn't for me. It's weird. I think it's pretty fair to say that it's weird to just race swap these characters just because you're like, oh, I just want a black person to be the protagonist rather than a white person. I think it's just like kind of a weird thing to do. Like, I would say, probably some self-examination that needs to be done if you're thinking about race that much. Apart from that, the movie was still fine. Now, I do think there were some things that they should have explained more. I think one of the biggest problems, I think, with the story, which actually led it to be a little bit interesting if you're looking at the movie with a philosophical lens, but it's still, from a storytelling perspective, is unfortunate and not good, is that Ursula had gotten banished by Triton. And that was very clearly said in the movie. And that's the cause for the whole situation, because Ursula's salty at Triton for banishing her. And so she decides to mix up this silly potion to basically mess with the mermaid in a way that would, make the King Triton upset, and then give her leverage over him. It's a whole crazy thing. Kind of wild. But it definitely works in the framing of the story. My problem is they don't explain whether or not Ursula was right, because it's a possibility that she's right because they don't say why she got banished. It could have been that Triton was just mean and just wanted the throne all to himself, and so he banished Triton so that she could not challenge his place on the throne. But I do think that there is still a moral lesson to this movie, which is, first of all, the ends don't justify the means, right? Even if Ursula was right, it doesn't matter, because you don't deceive people and trick them with magic. Just you can get leverage over someone so that you can get revenge for something that they did to you like a long time ago. So as far as that is concerned, there's no need for an explanation as to whether or not Ursula was in the right or in the wrong, because in any case, she's not doing the right thing. So from that perspective, I think that was kind of nice to see that theme in the movie. But still, from a storytelling perspective, it's like you're spending half the movie wondering, if the good guys are actually on the side of good or not. Like, I'm like, should I be rooting for Triton to be banished or not? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I think the movie was basically fine. The music was all right. I'm not a big fan of musicals, although I will say that it had a lot fewer musical numbers than I was expecting. I did learn though that there was actually less music in the original, so maybe it's just me not being familiar with the source material, because I've actually never seen the animated version of The Little Mermaid. So, but yeah, I mean, it was just all right. Not really my thing, but I'm sure there are going to be some people who enjoy it. Some people are definitely going to be salty that Ariel was race swapped for basically pandering reasons. But I think at the end of the day, give it 5-10 years, literally nobody's going to care about the skin color of Ariel in the live action version. Like, people are either just going to like the movie or they're not. So that's one reason why I don't really care about those types of things when it comes to judging whether or not something is good, because sometimes they do these like race swaps and the characters are bad and so it sucks, but that's because the characters are bad, not because the characters race swap. Usually it doesn't really affect the actual quality of the story, so that's why I view them completely differently. And you can complain all the live long day about the race swapping, but it doesn't make the movie bad. It's my opinion. That's my opinion. And to me, I'm a fan of just watching good art, right? So if you're gonna race swap something, but it's good, I'm gonna watch it, right? I'm gonna watch it. That's just how I roll. So I'm not gonna get all twisted over it.